Bhagavatam ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assam of the devotees. All glories to the Assam of the devotees. All glories to the Assam of the devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. So on this 14th day of October, 2018, in Phoenix, Arizona, we're speaking at the Sunday Festival, known as Krishna Fest in San Diego. And tonight I'd like to deal with a couple of topics. One is the overall philosophical conundrum Srila Prabhupada gave us between Shreyas and Preyas. You may have heard this term, Shreyas and Preyas. And also the importance of prayer and what to pray for. These are two related subjects. So I'm going to begin with a famous prayer from the Srimad Bhagavatam. Chapter 8, the prayers of Queen Kunti. Some of you may know this verse. This is near the end of her prayers. And just a note on prayer. I once did a little seminar with Romapad Maharaj in Chicago. He has a retreat every Christmas, New Year's. And a few years ago, we decided to do one on Vandanam. Vandanam is, as you may know, one of the 9 processes of devotional service. But what exactly is Vandanam? Vandanam, we know we bow down. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutakam. But also Vandanam is listed as prayer. So I began to think about that, the relationship between offering obeisances and prayer. And when I did some research in the Bhagavatam, which is full of prayers, I discovered something very interesting, that Vandanam has really, almost always has 3 elements to it. One, of course, is offering obeisances. Another is glorification. And the third is some request. The traditional meaning of prayer in English is that you approach God or some great personality and pray for something. You ask for something. So, and sure enough, Queen Kunti's prayers has all of these 3 in abundance. Begins with the word Namaste, Purusham Svadhyam, it begins with Namaste, and ends with Namaste. The last prayer is Namaste. She's offering obeisances. And in between, she's glorifying Krishna, and she is remembering all of the, how he saved them, she and her exalted sons, the Pandavas, so many dangers. And then nearly the second to last prayer is my favorite, and I memorized it many years ago when I first encountered it in Brooklyn in 1973. And here's how it goes. Many of you may know this prayer, so you can chant along. Tvaime ananya vishaya Madir Manupades Vikrit Ratamun Vahatadabha Gange Baumadanpati. So I'm going to read Srila Prabhupada's translation and part of his purport here, and then I'll give you my little poetic rendition. So she's praying, O Lord of Madhu. Madhus are part of the Yadu dynasty. O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn unto you without being diverted to anyone else. Prabhupada's purport part of it. Perfection of pure devotional service is attained when all attention is diverted toward the transcendental loving service of the Lord. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements, like affection for someone else. Her previous prayer was quite heroic. She was saying, please cut off my affection for my exalted sons, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis. And then this one is that let it all be directed to you. Because the battle is over, there's been won. Krishna's getting ready to leave and go back to Dwarka. So it's clear that he'll be leaving altogether soon. So she's winding up and she says, let me not be diverted. Let me be one-pointed at me. To cut off the tie of all other affections does not mean complete negation of the finer elements like affection for someone else. This is not possible. A living being, whoever he may be, must have this feeling of affection for others because this is a symptom of life. The symptoms of life, such as desire, anger, hankerings, feelings of attraction, etc., cannot be annihilated. Only the objective has to be changed. Desire cannot be negated, but in devotional service, the desires change only for the service of the Lord in place of desire for sense gratification. Om Gyan Tivarandasya Gyanam Shalakya Chakshuvun Midazamena Tasmai Shri Gurave. So inspired by this prayer, I put it into a little English verse. O Madhava, please ever fill my mind with thoughts of thee, not any other kind. As Ganges torrent flows into the sea, let all my love flow constantly to thee. And you'll find that this kind of prayer is very common amongst our acharyas and even Krishna himself in the form of Lord Chaitanya. In the Shikshastika, these essential eight instructions on the chanting of the holy name and the perfection of the chanting. In the middle of it, Lord Chaitanya teaches us what to pray for. When chanting, what should we be calling out to Krishna? What are we asking for? So first he says what he doesn't, we shouldn't pray for. In the ideal sense, because we're trying to escape from this material world. If we pray for something in this world, then we're sure to stay in the world. So he says, Nadanam Sundari, Kavidam Vajagadish Kame, Amajanmani Janmani Shware, Bhavadam Bhakti Ahoy. Wealth and women, followers, the fruits of mundane piety, liberation from this world of limitless anxiety. For me, O Lord, these common goals have not the slightest worth. Let me serve you purely now and in each future birth. So this is a very important verse, because the common things that we go to God for, and even Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if the pious, when they're in need of money, they're in trouble, or they're curious about God, or they really not want for knowledge, they'll come to me. But if you go to God for some material reason, then He may give you that benediction. But that's not going to help you to solve the ultimate problems of your life. And actually, Krishna, you can go to other gods for that. You may go to Shiva, you may go to Chandra, Surya, Kali, for your material needs. But if you go to Krishna, you better watch out. He may take away all your property as a blessing. What is Kunti saying? Kunti is praying. I can't pray like this. She said, she's remembering in these prayers, there's about 12, 15 of them, all the difficulties that they went through in the forest and being persecuted by Dhritarashtra's sons, and so much. Her very name, Kunti, means she's always crying. She's crying. So, but they never forgot Krishna. They always were praying for him. And so she says here, let the dangers come again and again. Because by those dangers, we see you again and again. In other words, in distress, the devotee doesn't lose faith in God. Rather, he calls out more fervently for God's protection. And that's when Krishna really gives the mercy. So she's saying, by these difficulties, we saw you because we fervently prayed to you. And by seeing you, we won't have to see birth and death. Is it? The real problem is birth and death, in the most basic sense. So if you pray for anything or work for anything, even without God consciousness, or in this material world, you're simply entangling yourself more and more. So, Lord Chaitanya is teaching us, I don't want wealth, I don't want followers, I don't want sense gratification, I don't want to go to heaven. I don't even want liberation. I don't even want liberation, because liberation without bhakti is false. It's like fool's gold. This is yem yega rabim daksha vimukta mahanas. The devas are praying to say, my dear Lord, the Krishna's in the womb in Devaki, and they come incognito into the chamber there, and they're offering all these wonderful prayers. And one of the prayers is that besides the bhaktas, there are those whose consciousness and intelligence really isn't purified because they're averse to serving your lotus feet. But they think that by great austerities, repressing the senses, they've attained mukta manana. They have the idea that they're liberated. But even though they may rise up, a very few, to Brahman platform, because they are averse to serving your lotus feet, they have no lokastanda there, they come down again. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to repress all the desires and the activities of the senses. This is what Prabhupada is saying in the purport. Affection is natural. So we have a family, we should do the best for that family, anyone we have influence over, and introduce them to their eternal friend Krishna. Isn't what that Rishabdev says? If you have any kind of responsibility, guru nasat sat, swajana nasat, you're a guru, a relative, a father, a mother, a wife, a deva, anyone who has any influence over anyone else or authority, then you must be able to deliver them from birth and death. Now, every living entity is independent. You raise your children, you do the best you can. And if you give them all your life and soul to try to deliver them, that's what and then it's up to them after that. Everyone's an independent soul. Many parents have found that out. Devotional parents. The kids are not as interested as they had hoped. But that's another thing. The idea is that the real affection is expressed by introducing someone to their eternal friend and eternal mother. And those who have been blessed in that way really thank the Bhakti Pradarshana Guru or so. So then the next prayer of Lord Chaitanya, he's teaching us how to pray. And this is a kind of a generic prayer. He addresses God as Jagadisha, the Lord of the universe. Any religion could do that. If God is anything, he's the Lord of the universe. But the next prayer, Krishna Vrindavan, Ainanda Tanuja Kindaram, Patitam Mam Vishamen Bapam Babo, Kripaya Bapad Mungaja, Stidadhu Lead Sadrisham Vichindriya. Your servant for eternity, I lost my true identity and fell into this horrid sea of birth and death, O Lord. O Nanda's son, please hear my plea. By your sweet grace, consider me a speck of dust upon your rose forever. This is really how we should feel. That Krishna, please pick me up out of this blind well of illusion. And I wanted to share with you another prayer. This is by King Kulashekar. The prayers of King Kulashekar. Srila Prabhupada loved that book. He was working on a translation, and when he published the Bhagavatam, even though he hadn't finished the book, he said other books by the same author, the prayers of King Kulashekar. And eventually, I have a history, as mentioned, of working on Srila Prabhupada's books. So throughout the 80s, from 83 to 89, I worked with Vidyananda Das Goswami and Dr. Bernardana Sadhu on completing Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Prabhupada completed through 10th canto, chapter 13, the killing of Aghasura. The next chapter is Prabhupada's prayer, a very important chapter. They're all important. So I had a great opportunity to help in that. So we finished the project in 1989, and then we had a meeting. Well, what other books should we do? Now that we finished this Bhagavatam, it was important. So I said, well, why don't we finish the books that Prabhupada started and didn't finish? We know that he wanted those published, and they included two: Mukundamala Stotra and Narada Bhakti Sutra. Narada Bhakti Sutra is not so read by devotees, but it's a really nice book, very important. You can read those sutras. Sutras are little aphorisms like the Brahma Sutra, Vedanta Sutra. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Very little aphorism. It requires explanation. That's why there's so many tikas. So Narada Bhakti Sutra is like 84, 85 verses. And it's all on the subject of bhakti. First he defines prema, and then he tells you how to get it, and he says all these movements. You can read the whole thing through in just the sutras in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes, to 20 minutes, 84. But it's very illuminating. So we finished those, and I became even more acquainted. Satsuru Maharaj, he was the one who did the ticket quoting the translations that Prabhupada didn't do. So this prayer is one of my favorites from that. But I know by heart. He says, Andasya me the Viveka Mahavanasya. Chaurai Pago Bhagavad India Nama Deha. Mohan the Kupa Hare Nipatasya Devesh Dehi Manasya Kadavalambu. So he's describing there, I don't have the English translation memorized, but he's saying, the thieves of my senses, Vritta Viveka Maha Chaurai Pago Bhagavad Indriya, my powerful senses are like thieves, and they've stolen my treasure. You know what the greatest treasure is as a human being? The power of discrimination. Of really discriminating what is right, what is wrong, and how to act. So my senses have stolen that, covered it over.
and they've thrown me into a deep well, blind well of illusion. Andasime into the Vegamahan. Chaure Bolavidinde and Mohan the Kumukahare Patas. Into the well of Mohan, blind well of illusion. So now what am I going to do? You know, if you fall into a blind well in India, some of you may know, you live from the country. A blind well means it's not used anymore. There's no water, so it's become overgrown with grass, but the well is still there. You can see the hazard. You're walking along, you know, whistling away, and suddenly you fall down and you can call out and nobody can hear you. It's a dangerous situation. So we're kind of in that well. We're blind. We don't even know we're in the well. And that's but it's a very dangerous situation. So this brings to mind another prayer like this. So he's saying, please lift me up out of this well. This is the please save me. Now, there's another prayer, two other prayers that also use the same image. One is by Uddhava. Uddhava is a very intimate associate of Krishna. He was his companion and advisor in Mathura and Dwarka, Brahman, and Krishna chose him to speak his last instruction for the Uddhava Gita in the 11th canto, which is kind of an expansion on the Bhagavad Gita. Same subject, more detail. So in the middle of that, you know how every so often, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, King Parikshit is encouraging Shukadev, please go on. And they get to the 10th canto, now please, you know, this kind of visualize the scene. It's very dramatic. Parikshit is sitting there amongst all these great sages and saints that come in from different parts of the universe, and they're sitting at this incredible event where the king of the world has renounced the kingdom, having been cursed. He could have counteracted the curse of the Brahman boy, but he accepted it as Krishna's destiny and blessing. So he gave up the kingly dress and kingship, and he just sat down by the Ganges waiting to see what would happen. And so Shukadeva Goswami, the greatest learned sage at the time, he comes and sits on the Vyasasana and begins speaking the Bhagavatam. Now this is the 10th canto, so that's a good part of it has been spoken. Parikshit wasn't eating, he wasn't drinking, and he wasn't sleeping. He was just sitting there and listening. And so at this point, he says, you know, I'm not feeling any pain from this. I'm simply subsisting on the nectar of this Krishna Katha that we've been spoken. This is how enlightened it was. So similarly, Uddhava, in his Uddhava Gita, in the 11th canto, periodically he says, oh, please go on speaking, go on speaking. So this is one of those verses. So here, Uddhava takes the role, as they often do, like Prahlad does and others, of a conditioned soul. And so he uses the same image of falling into this blind well of the snake hole of the material world. It says, Dashtam janam sampatitam videsnim kalahina chutta sukor tarsham samudharayanam kripayapavagaya gatobi asincha mahamama. So Dashtam means bitten. This person, janam, Dashtam janam sampatitam. I've fallen into this snake hole of the material world, and I'm being bitten by the poison snake of time. Kalahina. And in spite of that, Chudra Sukoratarsham. I have a great thirst, maintaining a great thirst, even in this dangerous situation. I have a great thirst for insignificant sense gratification. Chudra Sukha. Chudra Sukha means very insignificant, but it's my all in all. So how to be saved? So he says, please lift me up out of this well. Samudharayanam kripayapavaga, by your merciful words, which give liberation. Vachove. Vachove asincha mahamabha. Vachove means asincha, sprinkle your nectarian words upon me. Now this is a good prayer before reciting Bhagavatam, before reciting Bhagavad Gita. You can say it if you're going to study Bhagavad Gita. So the point is that we shouldn't ask Krishna or God for anything material. We should ask for the process of bhakti, or pure love. That which leads to love for Him, which includes liberation, or the love itself. The words that He speaks is the same. And now I wanted to bring up this topic of Shreyas and Praise, which is very pertinent. What do we aspire for in this world? And in our devotion, what should we ask for? What should we pray for? What should we try to achieve? So I brought out a symbol, a modern symbol which you all recognize, of praise. Prayas means immediate good. How can I enjoy now? Or maybe a little later, you know. But basically it's self-centered. This is prayas. Shreyas is ultimate good, both for myself and for everyone else. You see the contrast. So here's the symbol of Shreyas, of praise. Recognize it? The credit card. Buy now, pay later. You used to have that all the time as you'd see it on the signs. Buy now, pay later. Now that you don't see it so much because the credit card, that's the meaning of it. Buy now, pay later. In other words, enjoy now and don't worry about later. You pay later. You see? But you find out that, okay, I enjoyed. Now the enjoyment is over, but the payment is giving me more pain than I enjoyed. Isn't it? And especially if you get behind, right? Isn't it the rate goes way up? You know, oh my God, you know. So that's material life. Try to enjoy now, and don't worry about later, you know. But later comes, because that's the nature of time. And a little bit of enjoyment now, a whole ton of suffering later. The worst thing about material enjoyment is that you're sure to come back again in the material body. If your whole life is based on material, it may be mode of goodness enjoyment. You may like to go hear Beethoven song instead of rock music or whatever they have to do. That doesn't matter. It's material also. Even going to the heavenly planets and hearing the Gandharvas sing, it's also material. What does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? Chine punye lokam vishanti. That even if you do get to Indraloka and enjoy godly delights, when your punya is over, when your card is maxed out, then you have to go back to work. No more vacation. No more cruise ship. You understand? So the same thing is there on the larger scale. You may get so much punya by sacrifice and worship in this lifetime with the aim of going to heaven, and if you do it just right, you go up there. But that's not a solution to your problem. It's just a more exaggerated form of gross enjoyment on this planet. So this is what Arjuna the conclusion he came to after the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. For him, of course, he's a devotee. So his desire, his material desire, was to see his so-called enemies, which he realized were really my dear friends and relatives and my worshipful guru, you know, alive. Or at least let me have nothing to do with killing them. That was his. It's sense gratification, although of a very high sort. You know, it's mode of goodness. But it wasn't transcendental. And he was torn on the chariot. His good friend, who he knew was Supreme Personality of God, and he knew he wanted him to fight. So there's that. And then his gut reaction, his feeling, which he's justifying by all kinds of Vedic arguments, you know, it wasn't just off the top of his head. But still, he was torn and had this existential, ontological paralysis, if you will. Drops his bow, starts trembling, is crying, you know. And then he comes to his senses, and the key verse there that turned the whole Bhagavad Gita turns there, really begins, is Karpa Yadosha Bhava Subhava, Prichani Dharma Samudacheta, Yakshe Eksya Nishtitam Bruhitam Me, Shishisteham Shariman Pannam. My dear Lord, due to this miserly weakness, my real characteristic as this heroic Chakti is now covered over. That's it. My swabhava, my real nature, is now lost, and I'm just trembling. I've dropped my bow, which is a big thing for Chakti. He wants to avoid. Please speak to me, to this person who am bewildered about real Dharma. Dharma is essential for human life. Without Dharma, we're just polished animals. Dharma means a process you accept, and this is what real Dharma is, for your elevation to perfection in this world. And so he was bewildered. What was the right thing to do in the realm of Dharma? So he prays to Krishna, Nik Shreya, here's the word Shreya. He says, please tell me for certain, this is the thing. You approach a genuine spiritual preceptor who's coming in the line from Krishna, and you can be certain. You have to make sure it's a genuine article. You can be certain that the instruction will be non-different from what Krishna gives, but just suited to you in this time and this place. Prabhupada's great gift to us was that he gave us so many gifts, but his greatest gift was his books. And they were given to us in the West here, in English. We could understand. That was the whole thing. Otherwise, if it's locked in the Sanskrit and Bengali, what good is it going to do? So this is what the Acharya does. He gives the instruction just suitable for the recipients of a certain time and place. And look at the result. The worldwide movement is growing like anything. So Arjun turned and he said, now I'm not your friend. I mean, he's still his friend, but I'm not acting the position of your friend. I am your shishya, your disciple. Shishya means someone who agrees to be controlled by the words of the Guru. The word shas means control. What's some other words with shas as the root, Shastra and Shastra. Shastra is a weapon. If you're not controlled by Shastra, you'll be controlled by Kali's weapons. That's your choice. You can be controlled by Shastra, which is for our ultimate good, or you'll be controlled by Shastra for our punishment, so we learn our lesson. That's our two choices. So, excuse me. It's my turn. So, the Lord Chaitanya is teaching us how to preach, Arjuna is teaching us how to surrender, and how to aim for the Shreyas. Now for that, we have to learn what is the ultimate Shreya. And it's clear from the Vedic teachings, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not something for our immediate pleasure. It's not something that's related to our own pleasure, even subtle pleasure. It's ultimately to break free from the round of birth and death, from the samsara chakra, and to return to our natural position in the spiritual world, as Krishna's loving servants. That's where our real happiness and security lies, not in this material plane. Now, we have to live on this plane and in this life. So the art is how to live your life in a wholesome way, but with the focus ultimately on our spiritual life and our spiritual perfection. And that's what Srila Prabhupada gave. He also taught Varnashram. We yet to manifest that perfection. But that's, what is the essence of the Varnashram Dharma? Right in the second chapter, first canto. Atar kumbhe dvida sreshta varnashrama vidhakashaha swanustitasya dharmasya sansiddhi haritosha. All of the varnas, the social orders, and the ashrams, the spiritual orders, the perfection is found in the satisfaction of Hari. And you'll find that if everyone's working toward the satisfaction of Hari, everyone is satisfied. It's not that the Shudras are envious of the Vaishyas and the Brahmins, and the sannyasis are lording it over the other orders. That's not Maya. That's material. That's a materialistic corruption of Varnashram. But truly, it's a fact that if everyone is working toward the satisfaction of Hari, no matter what position you are, socially or spiritually, you'll be satisfied. Just like in the kirtan, right? Kirtan is the perfect example. That's the ultimate yuga dharma. If everyone is dancing nicely and chanting, absorbs the holy name, does anyone think, oh, I wonder what if that person has a better job than me? Maybe it's not like that. Doesn't matter. You see, the sannyasis are dancing with the brahmacharis, the ladies are all dancing together. Everybody's with Krishna. That's the only platform of true universal satisfaction. Otherwise, the false ego gets in and it divides us. That's Maya's. So, another verse that describes this well, a very illustrative, this is another prayer by Rupa Goswami I'd like to share with you. And for Rupa Goswami, you're going to just get the pure prayers. So he says, Manasiddhapani dushte, labdapatosmi dushte, Timadagamna rupe, hanta samsara kupe, ajita nikala rakshahe, tamuddara raksham, upanayam bhakti rajun namaste. Now, can anyone tell me what a bhakti raju is? Do you know what a raju is? It's a rope. It's a rope. The rope of bhakti to pull you out of the well. So he says, fallen in this deep and dark and dirty well of mind, threatened by the snake of lust, whose venom burns like fire. Helplessly I pray, O Lord, whose strength is ne'er in doubt, place the rope of bhakti in my hands and pull me out. So you can imagine where it's going. Up there, going down the road. So what is our responsibility? Hold on to the rope. Holding on to the rope tightly means following us out of the darkness. Otherwise, even Krishna can't pull us out. He's all powerful, but if we're determined to stay here, that's our little independence. So we should be determined to get out, and that means to rely on Krishna and his instructions and his representatives, and hold on tight to those instructions. That's our real lifeline, is it? And our practice. So, there's one more prayer I have to share with you. This is kind of the a very high level, but it's a prayer that we can all offer. And it follows this mood of glorifying Krishna, describing Krishna, and then asking for something. Ujanga the Pachanga Gas, Buddha the Kanta Tudam Gure. Dinam Krishna Pachangala, Mamina What Pablinka for me. Pachanga to the Stati, what of the Kedi Brigade. Podas Pudu Me Mohus, Vai Mukunda, Shudha Rati. Who can guess what Shudha Rati is? Your love. So he says, you wear the best of crests, a crown of perfect peacock plumes. Your dancing glances stung the bees, meandering amidst the blooms. You relish love play in a cottage, Vaikal Indi's shore. O Krishna, may your love for you be mine forevermore. So, any questions or comments? I got more. If you don't have any questions, just let them know. Okay, so since I was advertised as a poet, which I'm not, cool. I'd like to go through this one little poem that I wrote. I'd like to tell how it came about. Because, I'm always dealing with words. I mean, I've been an editor for 45 years, so I've got all kinds of dictionaries and things on my computer. And when I got into this poetry writing, there's three tools you need. You need a regular dictionary. You need a thesaurus, which tells you synonyms for words. And there's something you may not know called a rhyming dictionary. Now it's online. Key in Serenity, and you find so many words that rhyme with Serenity. So when I started to do it, it was actual physical book. So I'm going through here and there, and I'm finding I come across the word in my word, cupidity. Now cupidity is a word, English word. It obviously started, meaning more or less lust. But somehow it's come to mean greed, mostly. So let's think of it as a nice combination of lust and greed. All those wonderful things that keep us bound to this world. So I said, well, this obviously is the seed of the poem. Because what's that really favorite word, a really important word that rhymes with cupidity? Stupidity. Oh, okay, we can work with that. So I started working, and I found that there's so many words in English that end in itty. So I started calling this the itty poem. So it ended up as the fall and redemption of the soul. So here it goes. Explore this as long as you want. Where Krishna lives, felicity abounds. With pure simplicity and love and sensibility, all serve him with humility. But when a living entity rejects his true identity and out of sheer stupidity surrenders to cupidity, he loses all sagacity and with it all capacity to understand reality or curb his sensuality. Abandoning humility, he touts his own ability, forgetting his fragility and fortune's volatility. Immersed in asininity for what seems an infinity of lives devoid of piety, he suffers an anxiety till contact with God's devotee, perhaps of utmost brevity, awakens his affinity for words of the divinity. Perceiving the futility of all his imbecility, the soul regains his sanity and casts away his vanity. Endowed with new humility, he serves with all ability and growing spontaneity his guru and the deity. Regaining his identity, the wayward living entity returns to the fraternity of Krishna for eternity.